So, I heard you're a researcher? That's pretty cool. Do you have any inventions or prototypes I can take a look at? A weapon of mass destruction? What does it look like? Gnosis, this is just a massive fork. How could this possibly be a weapon of Wait. Oh wait. Oh no. Gnosis's banner comes with the Break the Ice event. He has talents that allow his attacks to inflict chill for 1 second. If enemies are in his range and they have the chill debuff, they'll also get a 25% weakening debuff. If enemies are frozen in his range, they'll have a 50% weakening debuff. The chill effect is basically the same as the chapter 6 mechanic. Chill reduces the attack speed of enemies. If another layer of chill is added onto an already chilled enemy, then they will become frozen. Frozen enemies are unable to move and attack, and their arts resistance is also reduced by 15, so he synergizes with burst arts damage operators. Most story and event bosses are frozen immune, but remember that he still allows damage amplification from just chill. His second talent gives Karlan trade operators resist if he is deployed for 10 seconds. It's pretty situational and doesn't really benefit a wide range of operators since the only Karlan trade operator that most people raise is Silver Ash. Gnosis' second skill immediately deals arts damage to all enemies in his range and inflicts a layer of chill for 4 seconds. If the skill is charged, it'll inflict another layer of chill, meaning the enemies will be frozen. Wait, 4 seconds of frozen? Frozen decreases the arts resistance of enemies? I feel like I've seen that uptime somewhere. Oh wait! Ah, there it is! Gnosis' second skill is good for consistent debuffing and damage, but it's not really a skill you'd use often. His third skill makes his attack speed go nyom and allows him to prioritize 2 unfrozen enemies simultaneously. Frozen enemies in his range will stay frozen until the skill duration ends. When the skill ends, he will deal 600% arts damage to all frozen enemies and remove the frozen debuff from them. This skill just screams big damage amplification because of its synergy with his first talent. Since it lasts 13 seconds, you're only going to get the damage amplification for around 12 seconds, but the arts resistance shred from the frozen debuff is more than enough to get big damage in from operators like Aya and Surtur. What's even cooler is that since he benefits from his own talent, Gnosis can actually just become the DPS himself. I know a lot of you are going to compare him to Suzerain, and this is one of the strengths of Gnosis. To sum up their differences, Suzerain has a longer uptime with more crowd control, range, and healing, while Gnosis has shorter uptimes with a stronger damage amplification, better for short burst skills. He can also straight up be the DPS. Okay Ling, this is an intervention. You need to stop drinking. You said you would quit a month ago. Just because you're above the legal age doesn't mean you get to be an alcoholic. Ling is the third Nyen sibling to arrive. She is a summoner supporter, meaning her first talent gives her summons. Ling's second talent lets her get SP and attack when a summon is retreated, absorbed, or defeated. The attack part of this talent can only stack up to 5 times. On release, she also got her module that increases the summon limit and reduces the DP cost of her summons, which comes in very handy, especially with her S3. Ling's S2 makes her summons ranged and deal arts damage. When you pop the skill, all the summons and Ling herself deal big arts damage to 2 enemies in range and bind them for 3 seconds. If a summon has lower than 50% HP, they will be retreated after the attack, which helps her get SP and attack from her second talent. She can hold 2 charges of this skill, and with the short SP cost, it's hella bursty. Multi-target, big damage bind, and a big range, since her summons can be used on any ranged tile throughout the map. Ling's true flashy skill is her third. It allows her summons to be deployed on melee tiles, and if there is another summon in a summon's attack range, they will fuse together into a higher form with bigger stats. When the skill is activated, Ling and her summons will get a big boost in attack and defense, and the summons will deal 20% of Ling's attack as arts damage every half a second to enemies in the 4 adjacent tiles around the summon. This skill gets a lot of attention because of how massive the stats are on the higher forms. So, what has Ling actually done? Not much really. She's soloed 718 and beat practically every low operator record for almost every stage. Is she broken? In my opinion, she's almost as broken as Chulter. Almost. If you're super into low operator clears, Ling makes most stages a cakewalk. Even outside of low operator clears, she can do well in max risk contingency contract dailies. It's even gotten to the point where Summoner and Supporter Knights players made an entire Lingless category since she trivialized most maps. Ling even does well in high risk CC where the other Summoner supporters don't, because the stats on her summons of her third skill are essentially massive stat pools with over 7,000 HP. Jesus Christ. Is Ling a must pull? If you're someone like me who has a pretty decent squad going and not too interested in the low operator, summoner, or supporter stuff, then you can probably skip her. So it says here you're a pretty good cook. What's your secret ingredient? Aspirin in the pasta sauce? Maybe you should be kept away from the kitchen. On the other side of Ling's limited banner, you have Lee of the Merchant branch. This branch has operators like Jay and Mr. Nothing, draining 3 DP every 3 seconds. His first talent increases his attack speed and decreases his enemy's attack speed if he is blocking an enemy. If there is only one enemy in the 8 surrounding tiles, this effect is doubled. Lee's second talent makes him consume an additional 2 DP to block the next stun or freeze and stun the attacker for 3 seconds. Looking at these talents, Lee seems to be geared towards dueling problematic enemies. On his release, he also got his module, which decreases the amount of DP he drains from 3 DP every 3 seconds to 2 DP every 3 seconds. His second skill gives him 30 attack speed. When activated, Lee will mark a target in his range, increasing their taunt level. The mark will explode after 5 seconds, dealing AoE arts damage. The enemy can be hit while the mark is charging, increasing the explosion damage per hit. The explosion damage is capped at 900% for 30 hit stacks. If the stacks cap is reached or if the enemy dies, the mark will automatically explode. With the maximum damage potential of over 6,000 every 7 seconds, this skill seems pretty powerful. You don't even need to reach the stacks cap since the explosion already deals a decent amount of damage with enough hits. The main issue with this skill is that you need 30 hits to reach the stack cap for maximum damage, which is pretty hard to get, since marksman snipers are the practically only reliable operators that boast fast attack intervals with multi-hit. Lee's third skill expands his attack range and increases his attack and defense. It makes his attacks push all enemies away with a small force except the one Lee is targeting. The skill also increases his taunt level and gives him arts and physical dodge to any ranged attacks coming from outside his attack range. So this skill is, yeah, it's weird. It's clearly a duelist skill. Lee pushes lightweight enemies to the outskirts of the range while 1v1ing the tougher guys. Even though the attack and defense additives don't seem like a lot, Lee's stats get chunky enough to where he can handle most heavy enemies. The physical and arts dodge is pretty high too, so no pesky ranged enemies will interrupt their 1v1. Overall, Lee's kit looks fun mechanics wise, but it's a little messy, so you're gonna have to think a little bit in order to make him shine. Goldenglow. Hairdresser with electricity? How do those two go together? Well, I've been trying to get a new fade anyways. Could you do me a solid and style my hair? Damn, I look fresh. Goldenglow is from the Mechacord branch. She is a Scottish cat. A cat. She is a cat. Her first talent gives her drones a chance to explode, dealing AoE arts damage, while her second talent makes her and her drones' attacks ignore 15 arts resistance. Because of the way the drones work, Goldenglow is better against tanky single target enemies than multiple targets, but the AoE explosion on her first talent can get some collateral damage in. Goldenglow's second skill increases her drone count by 1, widens her attack range, and increases her attack. It's an infinite duration skill, and you know what that means, AFK setups. It's a decent skill, but it doesn't really define her as an operator. Goldenglow's third skill makes her range global, increases her drone count by 2, increases her attack, and makes her drone's attacks slow the enemy for 0.5 seconds. This skill strengthens Goldenglow's single target damage, which is what she specializes in. With more drones, she gets more damage in, obviously, but this also gives her a higher chance to proc the explosion talent. The total damage on the skill is high, but it's spread over 30 seconds, meaning she has an okay-ish DPS. The targeting with the global range can be a little wonky, but it allows her to fit more damage into her overall skill duration. This skill is meant for slow drains of tanky mobs, since it's not really a burst instant delete skill, but the global range and slow gives Goldenglow a lot of versatility.